Today is Tuesday, Parashat Mishpatim. Parashah has in it 53 mitzvot, 23 mitzvot aseh, and 30 mitzvot lot aseh, meaning 23 positive commandments and 23 positive commandments and 30 negative commandments. In other words, don't do 30 and 23, an obligation to do. Many mitzvot that cover various aspects of life. We mentioned that yesterday. We spoke about not giving a loan, charging interest. But there is another aspect, speaking about loans, lo tiyeh lo kenoshe. Once you gave a loan to someone, and time comes for him to pay back, and he doesn't have the funds to be able to pay you back. He's gotten into a worse situation, he's not able to, he's ani, he's a poor man, and you know for a fact that he doesn't have with what to reimburse you, you're not allowed to pressure him. You're not allowed to dun him, to bother him to pay you the loan when you know that he doesn't have it. The Gemara goes into even great details. You're not even allowed to pass next to him on the same side of the street, because that would embarrass him. Make an effort to go on the other side of the street, not to cause him undue embarrassment when he's not able to pay back the loan. That's one of the mitzvot in the Torah, in this Parashah of this week. The Parashah of this week speaks also about judgment, about trials, and there are some rules to be applied when a rabbinic court sits in judgment, and this could be applied also to life in general. The rule is, the mitzvah is not to hear the plaintiff present his case if the defendant is not present. You have to have both of them present at the same time, because there is a different way that a plaintiff would speak. If the defendant is not there to defend himself, he could say certain things and create a prejudice in front of the judge. The judge will be prejudiced when he comes to hear now the other side. So you have two people in a court. One is a defendant, one is a plaintiff. They should be both present when the case is presented. You cannot hear one and then the other, because the judge would be prejudiced by hearing the first side without having the other person there to present also his side of the story. And many times there are, actually not many times, but it's always there are two sides to the story. And also in life, you know, you have somebody who's telling you something, claiming or complaining or something about another person that he has an issue with. It'd be a good idea to say, stop, let's make sure that he's present also so we can hear his side of the story, so we can hear both sides. Other aspects in judgment that you have to have witnesses if there is a case that needs not just circumstantial evidence or just what would be most likely this is what happened. No, there should be witnesses when there are certain cases that need, like a criminal case or any case that will have an impact on the person. You should have witnesses that are present to give testimony to make sure that this is actually what happened, but not an assumption of what happened. Another mitzvah in the Parashah of this week, to be very careful not to offend converts. Somebody who's converted to Judaism, you have to be very careful how you speak to them, not to offend them by words. One thing you should not say is, maybe you didn't grow up in a Jewish home and therefore maybe you don't understand. Very, very careful how we relate to them. The Parashah goes and speaks specifically about Gerim, but of course we're not allowed to offend anybody with words, but we have to be extra careful with somebody who converted to our religion. And these are just examples of some of the mitzvot that are in the Parashah of this week. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.